quick live stream to cover some of the new features on Pellego for analyzing properties. We sent out a video about this last week. Check out our YouTube channel. There's already one video on this that you can check out. We wanted to put a live stream out there in case anyone has any questions, just creating a time where anyone can just show up and participate. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. If you have a question during the event, go ahead and throw it out there. For the most part, the changes are pretty straightforward. It doesn't have to be a question, though, about this particular series of updates. It can be any updates. So what we're going to do is we're just going to analyze a specific, a single property, kind of try to go through a lot of those features as we do it. So without further ado, let's dive in. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. So let's just go ahead and get set up. Give me one moment here. Okay, let's see, let's get this video going on the side so we can see the live chat. Okie dokie, almost there. Okay. All right, let's do it. So yeah, any questions, feel free to throw them in the live chat and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the flips page. So this is a client only feature. This is just for our clients and our agents for them to check out. It takes the standard Pellego algorithms and applies them to every listing on the market. And because of that, you can start getting profit estimates on listings. So using the list price and the estimated Pellego ARV, you can then dive into what the expected profit is going to be. So let's go ahead and dive in and pick a property. This one seems like a good standard one in Tacoma. Tacoma is always pretty good. Rainier Beach is always pretty good too. So these areas kind of are very traditional flip areas where you're going to see a lot of comps, a lot of stratification between fix-up properties and not so fix-up properties. So let's go ahead and dive in. So let's pick out this Rainier Beach one. Okay, so this property was listed for $245,000 on July 26th. That was today. We got some information in the center about it, as well as its listing history. So you can see that it was listing before, it went pending, it went off market, the same day it went pending, and then it was listed several months later. We got the pictures, so that's the first thing we like to dive into is the pictures, just get a sense of the condition. So no internal pictures, so it's probably either tenant occupied or it's going to need a heavier rehab. Great opportunity to read the listing description. So listing description: remodeled suburban cottage, make a cozy home, rental home, built something new, offers quick, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so nothing useful there. Okay, so we have 1 bedroom, 0.75 bathroom. So this is already pretty unusual for a property, is this kind of a layout, 1 bedroom, 0.75 bath in a house. So a little unusual, especially for a house that it looks small. Actually, I guess it's only 680 square feet. 1907 build, probably needs a heavier rehab. Let's dive in. So the Pellego is broken up into these 5 tabs. You got the property tab, the comps tab, the rehab tab, the flip tab, and the rental tab. We're going to go ahead and dive through those. So the property tab is where you get general property information. So here you've got some parcel information. You can close that up. You can open up some structure information. Using the structure information, you can edit the structure and say add a bedroom, add a bathroom. So let's say you want it to be a 2-bedroom, 1.75 bathroom. You could do that and click Save Structure. Now, Pellego is not going to know that the layout or the square footage supports the potential for that extra bathroom. So that's on you to say, hey, you know what? I talked to my contractor. I know I can put this extra bathroom in there, and I want to see what Pellego has to say. So that's where you would put that in there. Yeah, I'm not going to do that right now, but just know that that's available through the Edit Structure. It's also available in this little drop down right here. Then you can go to Edit Structure, same exact thing. Okay. Let's dive in. So the main thing people tend to use Pellego for is the comps. So this is where we'll come up with other properties that are in a renovated condition. The algorithm does this automatically, try to find other comps that are specifically in that remodeled condition. And that's relevant because as a flipper, you don't really care about what the house is worth today so much as what it will be worth tomorrow when you fix it up. So not tomorrow with appreciation, but what it's worth tomorrow after you fix it up. And specifically, actually, Pellego does not by default account for appreciation. Now you can add appreciation in there, which a lot of your competition might be doing, and it's definitely worth considering, at least to some extent, but know that by default we're not. So in this case, Pellego identified two comps, comp 1, comp 2 over here on the map. And you can see that comp 1 actually is very similar. It's got the 730 square feet, 680 square feet. They both have 0.75 bathrooms and 1 mile. Comp 2 is a little closer. It's got 1 bathroom, so similar bathing situation and the square footage. So one thing you'll notice here is that there is this potential unfinished square feet. So both of these are unspecified on the comp. So they might have this extra square footage. So as we dive in, let's take a look, see if we can find anything unusual. So first of all, potentially a view right there that could screw things up. This one actually doesn't look very fixed up. So I'm not convinced that this is actually an ideal comp. And it's got that view. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on the adjusted value, which is where it sold for 351 about a year ago, and we adjust that value to account for a lot of things. So it's appreciated for 10 months. That adds 32,000. It is a slightly smaller, so we take away lot size slightly smaller, a little bit less street noise, so we add some extra potential parking space, so add some, but it doesn't say anything about the view. So it's possible that this 422 adjusted value is a little bit too optimistic. Then again, the condition is definitely something that we can improve on. I mean, this does not look like a flipped house by any means. If you're flipping the property, this is potentially not really a good representation of the potential for the subject property. So let's go to comp 2. Comp 2. No photo. Oh, look, there's photos. I just got a little bit of internet delay going on right here. Wait for it. Okay, so this one's a little bit nicer. Still not exactly like top of the market. It's got a little bit of view. So I want to check out that subject property again, see if it has a view that I'm not seeing. I'm going to go back to the property tab and get a sense of, is there a view here? Is it just not showing up? What's going on? We got a map. What's going on? So we're not really seeing that view situation. We are seeing this unfinished square footage. So I'm really curious about this. It looks like there's probably something down here. So I want to understand what the adjusted value and the Pellego ARV is with that finished square footage. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and edit structure. And I can see the 680 main finished square footage as well as the 520 unfinished square footage. I can add those together and I can get 1,200 finished square feet and 0 finished square footage. Let's see what we get there. Probably want to do more with the bathroom, but one step at a time. And we got this big boost from 415 Pellego ARV. You can see that up here to 477 Pellego ARV. So we go ahead and save that, see what comps show up. Way more comps at that size. Okay, so right away we can see this one looks pretty flipped. It is a flip actually. It says so right there. So when you're looking at the property, you can get a sense that it was flipped. I'm traveling right now, so the internet is not wonderful. But I definitely get that sense of this is a flipped comp. That's interesting. You can see a human in there. Okay, cool. So this is a really great comp. It's got a lot of character on these beams. So if anything, it might be too high. Still outstanding questions about the view. But this is definitely a nice house. It's got this ADU in the back also. So that's going to bump up that adjusted value. So it sold for 580 in August, about a year ago. Some people ask us, what's the deal with the 1 year mark? Is it okay that these comps are a year old? And the answer is yes, it is, because what we found is that our error rate on predicting after repair values is actually lower the further you go back in time. The only key thing to note here is that it depends on adjusting the value. So if you click on this blue number, this adjusted value, you'll see this appreciation amount. So we're saying, yeah, it sold in August about a year ago, but it's been 10 months. And since then, the market's appreciated to the extent that we think the subject property is now worth 53,000 more. So something to consider there. Finding these old properties is not necessarily bad because you have this adjusted value. Now, Pellego is also saying that the location of the comp is lesser, and we're going to take away 60,000 there. And that the subject property also doesn't have a only has 0.75 bathrooms instead of 1.75. So Pellego takes away some things and adds some things. It doesn't have anything about the ADU. So it's possible that this number is still too low and maybe it should be 480. Who knows? But something to keep in mind. So let's kind of dive into some of these other comps. This one has got a 415 adjusted value. So as we take a look at this one, Pellego says it was a flip. So it's got some before photos we can check out too. Definitely feels like a flip. I mean, that kitchen is just right out of a magazine. Definitely kind of where we might go with our property with that another ADU in the back. So let's see how this adjusted value plays out. Okay. So it looks like this one sold in April 2018. So you'll notice that there's not really an there isn't an appreciation or depreciation number on these, but there's definitely some things that are accounted for. So that's something you can dive into. So we got 415. The other one maybe is high 400s. Let's keep going. This one's high 400s. Let's take a look at the condition of it. And again, sorry, I'm traveling, so the internet's a little bit slow right now. But you get the idea. This one could probably be nicer. So what's interesting to me is there's already a bunch of ranges for what's possible with this adjusted values. It could be higher, it could be lower. I'm kind of leaning towards this high 400 level, but let's just keep going. Comp 4, where's Comp 4? Okay, Comp 4 is by the water. I'm already feeling like it's not there. Something's odd about that. There's no location information. Okay, so we're taking away 110,000 for the view. So this one's full for 561, and we're saying, hey, minus.
So to some extent, that is reasonable. And that helps us get that same high 480 number. So when you go through Pellego, I highly recommend checking out the adjusted values. Oh boy, this travel internet is killing me. Very slow. Okay, not that instant gratification. Because this one has a basement. So you kind of want to think, okay, hey, that's factoring in here. Is that accounted for? And one of the themes is that I always like to check the adjusted value because I want to see to what extent Pellego is hitting the things that I'm noticing as someone who just looks at a lot of these deals. And one thing I'm noticing right away is, hey, there's this unfinished basement here. And I saw it again in the photos. That's unfinished. There's definitely an unfinished basement. And when I look at the adjusted value, it says, yeah, you're right. There is an unfinished basement. But it's saying that Pellego is counting for the unfinished basement. So it's actually subtracting value when, in fact, this might be an issue with Pellego, actually. We have a finished basement now. Oh, we don't have the unfinished basement. We just have the square footage. So we have a little bit more than the square footage. We don't have this unused, unfinished basement. So it's saying, hey, unfinished basement, it's a little cramped, but it's still worth something. And then the finished square footage is also worth something, and we're a little bit lower on this one. So the comp is just bigger, no matter how you spin it. It's bigger on the finished, it's bigger on the unfinished. And so that's where that value is. So this helps us get this adjusted value. I think this 477 adjusted value is not unreasonable. It's a decent place to come from on the adjusted value. We've got some that are in the low 400s, some that are in the high 400, and overall, I think that this 477 is probably reasonable. So the rehab, I don't really know what the inside is going to be, but I think this heavy rehab is okay. Pellego gives you these guides. So on the it gives you a maintenance, light, medium, heavy, and to the studs rehab. And what this is saying is that we don't know the condition of it, but if it is a to the studs, if it is a heavy rehab, if it is a medium rehab, if it needs these bullet points, it's probably going to cost somewhere between this number and this number. So right now, Pellego is saying, hey, $65,000. Well, this number in the middle, this doesn't change, this rehab guide. The orange numbers are where the numbers change. So you can put in your number right here in the rehab budget. And then when you go to your flip tab, you're going to see that 65 carried over. So if you thought the adjusted value, this after repair value was a little bit too optimistic and you want to say, hey, it's 450, you can put that 450 in there and you'll still hold that 650 and help you calculate these numbers. Now, you'll notice there's a 16% depreciation. That's not accounted for in this number. That's something you can turn on by using the include adjusted value or by changing this and then clicking that. It's based on this trend line right here. For today, since I'm traveling, I'm going to try to make this a shorter one. And we're just going to say, okay, let's just pretend we're not using it. This is the rehab. It's 5 months. Purchase price is the listing price. That gets us to this flip profit. Now, 90,000 is a little perhaps too more than we need. And maybe we'll just compete at the $40,000 level. And when we do that, Pellego will automatically give us a number for the purchase price. And in this case, saying, hey, we can go all the way to 292. So even though the active listing price is 245, Pellego is saying if these other numbers are correct, you could go all the way to 40,000. Now it's possible that this rehab is too low, and we're going to build a bathroom and we're going to build something in the back, and maybe we're even at 95. And all of a sudden, this 80 now we're only at $8,000 profit for this listing price, and we're saying, you know what? No, we really want to be at that 40. Let's call it 38,000. And now we're only just about 18,000 above the purchase price. So the purchase price and the profit go very much hand in hand. Higher profit, lower purchase price, lower profit, higher purchase price. So you can play with those and go back and forth and get a sense of how much you could offer on the property. Feel free to save the property anytime, add some notes to it over here. This is one of the new features. You can add notes to it. So here's notes. Oh, my N key is not working. Some notes. Well, my N key and M key are not working. All sorts of things going right this call. Here are notes. Okay. And then you can put bullet points even if you want. And you can put note 1, note 2, and you can save this and reference it later if you want. Cancel that. And you can save it too. And if you save it, your comps, so for instance, maybe on comp 1, we didn't like this one as much. Actually, we loved comp 1. Let's say it's let's say for us, we don't like comp 4 because it's too close to the water. Thumbs down it. And then if we save this information and check back at the property later in My Deals, we're not going to see comp 4 included. It's going to be one of these gray comps like the other one. So you can see that if we click out of that, this comp, no matter how we go to it, is always going to be thumbs down. So we can always add it back in if we want, and that'll affect this Pellego ARV marginally, but by default, it is down. So that's the basic gist. Sorry, guys, I'm traveling right now, so it's a wish I could give you guys a little bit more detail. It doesn't look like there's any questions, so I'm going to take this opportunity to jump off of this call. Feel free to, if you leave any comments, I will be sure to respond to them afterwards. Shoot me an email or a message. You'll see my name is, I'm the guy right here, Gideon on the right side. You can ask about this property anytime, write a message, and I will definitely get back to you with how to use it. So thank you for your time, and I hope you got something out of this. And I will see you guys at the next Diamond in the Rough Deal Analysis live stream. Talk to you later. Bye.